Hi, hello, and welcome to Explainwallah, an exclusive program run by LearnStroke IAS classes by Arjun, and I am Arjun R Shankar. Recently, you must have bought something on the Amazon or Flipkart, and you must have applied for a loan. These days, the online loan platforms are so many, and you must have applied for a loan, and you must have given your Aadhaar card, PAN card, photo, and all other necessary details to fetch your loan. What do you think these people will do with your data? Is your data safe? Yes, we are talking about the Digital Data Protection Bill. Something very important that everybody is now talking about. And in this concept, you should know who is a data principal, who is a data fiduciary, and what is the Digital Data Protection Board, and what are the important aspects relating to this, what are the legal challenges, and everything. We'll find out all this answer in this Explainwallah. As I said, data is everywhere, and the most annoying thing is that you must be getting a lot of calls from different parts of the country regarding different products, diversification, etc. You must have visited a job fair, or you must have gone to a particular place, given your data, and the most annoying thing is that having your phone in your hand and you see the Truecaller app giving you a red color notification saying it's spam. You get a lot of calls from insurance agents, you get a lot of calls from the leading banks in India, which is actually offering you free credit cards. So your data is keeping on floating everywhere. So are you concerned about that? And can you do something about it? Because in India, we do not have a standalone rules and regulations for the protection of personal data. And only thing is actually the personal data is protected by the IT Act or the Information Technology Act 2000. And later on, after 2017, there was an expert committee headed by Justice B.N. Srikrishna, which actually gave the idea of a protection bill or the importance of protection. And why you need this is very important. But recently also you can see that data breaching is actually on the higher side. And you can see that many data, thousands of data was actually leaked from the CoWIN portal of the number of people who are vaccinated. And it got shared in Telegram. And more than 12,000 people's confidential data of State Bank of India, the complete details was actually leaked into Telegram. So the data, the people who are collecting data, are they able to keep it safe is the big question that we need to ask now. And in this context, before we understand this whole concept, let's understand that there are three important critical players involved in this. And the first player obviously is the data principal. And the second one is data fiduciary, and the third one is Digital Data Protection Board. So let's make it more easy for you. Data principals. Who is a data principal? It's me, it's you, and all the people around this country, the common citizens, or what we call as the digital Nagrik. It's me, you, and everybody who are actually sharing data and who are actually giving data. So this is data principals or the digital Nagrik. And the data fiduciaries are basically the companies, the business house or the startups and in different parts of the country or in India who collects data from your side. It can be for many things. So you know that when you apply for a particular thing, when you order food online or when you actually order something on the internet, what happens is your data, including your phone number, your address, and as I said in the loan app, your Aadhaar card, PAN card, everything is actually taken. And that means you voluntarily give it to apply something, and this data is actually going into the data fiduciary who are having tons and tons of actually treasure trove. You can call it as a treasure trove of data sitting in their backend. So these are the data fiduciaries and the data protection board. From now onwards, once the bill, the digital data protection bill is going to come, this will actually decide whether how the data is used, whether the data is safe, whether the credible data is put to the right use, whether you have a breach, etc. All this will be taken by the Digital Data Protection Board. So these three critical players are the most important things that we need to understand. So the next question that we'll understand is, what if and how are they going to use the data? Why should you be concerned? Let's find it out. So in this context, we should definitely know about the concept of applicability and consent. So let's discuss the applicability first, and in this you should know that the main concern here is in the applicability is the processing of data within India and even outside India. So you know that your data is processed within the country, and what are the important ways and how you do it actually. Within the country, your data is actually digitized. Your data is actually collected through the online where you apply, and in the offline mode, and then the data is digitized. Even it also applies it also applies to the data that is sourced and digitized outside India, whether if it is given for any particular type of goods and services. So this is what you mean by the applicability, where data is sourced from the within the country and even outside India for specific purpose. And the next important context is the consent, because do you give consent to use or process your data? And I'm sure that everybody who is actually logging on to any particular place in terms of goods and service or any particular app or something, everybody is actually in a very hurry. It's actually in a hurry, and what happens is everything must have got something called rules and regulations and terms and conditions, where you do not even read and you just click everything, click, and you just move on. So at one point of time, it is a consent which is actually not consent that is taken without your consciousness or without knowing what are the terms and conditions. So it is something very invisible. But this consent is very important. From now onwards, your consent is very important. Whether you should be knowing why your data is used, who is using it, and for what purpose your data is used. So definitely your consent matters. And before the consent, definitely they should send you you should get a notice, and the notice should actually tell you, we are collecting data, which are the data that we would love to collect, and all this data is actually used for what is the purpose of collecting this data. And once you have agreed to the consent, the data will actually be processed, and you can withdraw the consent at any point of time. And you can actually withdraw at any point of time. And there is also one more category which comes here, which is called as the legitimate use. So there is no big time issue for actually sourcing data for a legitimate use. And what do you mean by legitimate use? Sometimes you must have given your data voluntarily for some purpose, like to get a benefit from the government, or for an immediate medical emergency, or some job portal to give you notifications and tell you about the employment opportunities, medical emergency services, or there are some legitimate uses where you can give your data voluntarily also. So this is important thing, consent. So that is the second important thing. Let me also explain something more about the data fiduciary and data principles also, because now you must have heard about the data principle, which include me and you. You know why your data, you should know why your data is being collected. Everything that is clear on that. And also if you're a minor, and you can even recommend your parents and your guardians will be the person who will be giving the consent for this. But what about the data fiduciary? That is the important the context where you should see that the business house, the startup, and the companies that is using your data. So the most important thing is that they should be actually knowing why the data is being collected and use the data only for the purpose of using it. And that is what is called as the clause of storage limitation. You have taken the data from somebody for a purpose. Once you feel that the purpose is served and accomplished, you should immediately erase the data, because the purpose of the data collection is completely finished. But the most important thing that you will notice here is an important thing is that if you want to start something, if you want to start a new business, or if you want to start a new pharmaceutical company or a new service, you will see that data of everybody according to the age, category, demographics, and even the regions of the country is actually freely available. Not freely available, but definitely it's actually for a price. You will get a minimum thing free, and your data is actually for sale. So the big pharmaceutical companies or companies can actually take the data from the hospitals and plan the services accordingly. If you want to take a data from a college or a university, you will get the data from that. How many of the people are graduated? You take the data and use it accordingly. So this is data leak, and this is data theft. Your data is being stolen. Your data is being used. So it is the duty of the data fiduciaries to make sure that you delete the data, you completely wipe it off once the purpose is served. So that is an important aspect that should be noted. And what are some of the exemptions also? Some of the exemption is that your data can definitely be used for any ongoing investigations, for the issue of national security, national interest, or any important cases or legal things for the which is actually coming under the security of this country. It can be used. And one more important concern for many critics of this bill is regarding the usage of the government, because government is going to get a lot of data. Government is obviously going to be the biggest data repository. It has the data of everybody. So the bill and the act and everybody talks very seriously that the government should also make sure that the repository of data that it has to be very foolproof, that any organization or an entity which is actually related to the government do not make wrong use of the data from the government. So that foolproof system should also be included in this. And the role of data fiduciary should also tell you that in case of a data breach, the data fiduciary should immediately report it to the data protection board. So that legal passing on is also very, very important to be addressed. And let's understand what do you mean by the data protection board and why is it so important. Let's find it out. Just like we said, data protection board is very, very important and pivotal, because that is one such organization which has the responsibility to make sure that the data being handled in the system is foolproof and it's secure. And whether it is a data principal or data fiduciary, even data fiduciary can actually report it that a data breach has happened. Data principals can actually come in. So it is at one source agency or authority which is actually saying that, okay, this is the decision regarding the data breach. In case the decision given by the Digital Protection Board is actually having a dispute, where is the appeal of the dispute lying in? So the decisions regarding the differences of opinion regarding the Data Protection Board the appeal lies with the TDSAT, or Telecom Dispute Settlement Appellate Tribunal. So TDSAT is one such organization which will listen to the appeals. And the most interesting factor to be noted here is the penalties. We have some interesting cases of curious penalties here, where the penalties will range to the tune of 200 to 250 crores. 200 crores if it is relating to children, and 250 crores. So it's not some easy money. So it's big money. So definitely there is going to be a lot of appeals at the decision of the Data Protection Board. And that is the reason why we have the appeal, which a tribunal which will have a power of a civil court which will actually decide. But in this context, always understand there will be a good inquiry conducted before the penalties will be imposed. So that is why Data Protection Board is going to play a very pivotal portion in this protection bill. The entire digital data protection bill is actually based on 7 cardinal principles, and one of the important principles, the starting principle, is the principle of consent. That means you give the consent and you should be the one who should be providing the consent to take the data. And the second is the principle of purpose. That means the data that is collected should be for a particular purpose and for nothing at all, only for that purpose. And the third one is relating to the data minimization. Only take the data, the minimum data that the purpose needs to be served. Don't take over data or a lot of data other than that. So data minimization is also very, very important. And next is the principle of data accuracy. Whatever data that you take should be accurate and to the purpose. And next is regarding the important one regarding the storage limitation. Always the principle of storage limitation, always take data only to the purpose, and once the data is accomplished, once the purpose is accomplished, delete it from the storage. You delete the whole data. And apart from that, there is another important principle regarding the safeguards and security. Definitely there should be a reasonable safeguard and security of the data, the principle of reasonable safeguard and security. And the next important one is obviously the principle of accountability. So principle of accountability is very important, because that is the reason why there is Digital Data Protection Board, etc., that your data is completely secure. So definitely these 7 principles work on a big time basis. So now we have discussed a lot about data protection, and now you know data is very, very pivotal and data is very important. That is the reason why it is even called data is the new oil. So let's hope that the coming laws, definitely it has got a lot of challenges and a lot of big things to achieve. Let's really hope that in the coming days, the data protection bill will definitely serve its purpose, and the process and the big challenges regarding data protection will be really solved. So thanks for watching Explainwallah. Let's get in touch with another episode very soon.